starting to wonder if it wasn't just an accident that my mom left me at the donation center. Personally, I find decluttering with family to be much harder than if I'm just decluttering with friends or clients. Today, I want to share some quick tips, takeaways, lessons learned from helping my parents, so that if you guys are helping your older parents declutter their home, I hope that your experience will be as smooth and stress-free as possible, and hopefully you can even have fun in the process. Number one, this is very simple and I regret not doing this, and that is don't sleep where you declutter. Decluttering is mentally and physically exhausting, and the less time that you rest up and recharge in between your decluttering sessions, the more on edge you're going to be. And the more on edge you are, the less patience you're going to have, and the more likely that fights are going to be inevitable. My way of winding down and recharging is vastly different from the way that my parents do that. And you both need your space to step away from the project and from each other and to just recharge. That can be the difference between your declutter ending in a fight or your declutter actually being enjoyable. Just getting a hotel kind of solves that problem. And number two, this should be obvious, but I think that the lines tend to blur a little bit more when it comes to family, and it's not about you. It's not about whether or not you are a minimalist. It's not about what your interior style is. It's not about how much stuff you think your parents should have in their house. The goal should be to help them find a greater sense of calm in their home. Sometimes they're gonna keep something when you're like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And other times they're gonna wanna keep something and you have no idea why, but they're gonna wanna keep it. And at the end of the day, it isn't about you. You have to let them keep it. No matter how much it frustrates you, you can't force people into that. You have to let them come around in their own time. And I think a really good example of that was my mom with that bookshelf that was in the guest room the very first time that we went to declutter in her house. And that bookshelf was something that my Nana had forever. It was taking up a lot of space when they don't have a lot of space. And I asked my mom about it, but she was not ready. I didn't force her. I just said, okay, what if we relocate it and you can think about it? And you know what? 6 months later, when I came back, she was the one who said, you know, I've been thinking about this for the last 6 months and I'm ready to let it go. And while we're on the subject of letting everyone own their own style in their home, I want to take a quick minute to shout out and thank the sponsor of our video today, Homary. I love Homary. I've partnered with them now a few times on this channel. They're an online furniture retailer, but really they offer so much more. They have decor and rugs and lighting and things for your kitchen renovation, your bathroom renovation. They have storage items. They really have everything. And the reasons I love Homary is very simple. Number one, they have so many different styles that really can be tailored to anybody's style. Number two, they have quality pieces. Every time we get something in the mail, Jackson investigates it, and he is always wowed by how good the quality is, especially when so many pieces of furniture today are just being made from cheap materials. Which brings me to number three, they offer fair pricing. At my core, I really don't like overpaying for something, and I feel like so many online furniture retailers these days are overpriced for the quality of product. And with Homary, I feel like they really offer competitive pricing for the products that they're offering. And so I just got in 2 new pieces, and it's gonna be a tight squeeze in this temporary apartment until we move. I have great visions for the pieces I got and how to style them after we move. The first thing that caught my eye was this adorable coffee table back here. And I shouldn't call it adorable because that makes it feel like cutesy, but it's not. It is beautiful. It was so easy to install. And the next thing that Jackson and I were both so excited to get this new office chair. I love this chair. Not to mention, we've been talking more about cat-proof furniture lately. I chose this one specifically because the back of the chair is 100% cat-proof, which is one space Izzy loved to dig her claws in. I chose 2 products that were from their quick ship option, which is really easy. You just go to enter your zip code in the top left corner when you're searching for products, and it'll show you the products that will ship from their warehouse within 48 hours. And it does vary a little bit depending on what zip code you use, so make sure you turn that on. And I can make the price even sweeter for you guys. I have a 7% off discount code for you. I will leave it here and I will link it in the description box, so you'll definitely want to click on that. And let's get back to our quick tips. The next one was kind of hard for me, and that is that our parents just work at a slower pace than us. And I think it's that same idea that in our parents' eyes, we're always going to be their kids, and in our eyes, they're always going to be 45. I found myself still expecting them to move at the pace of a 45-year-old, but the reality is they're much older and they're moving slower, both mentally and physically, throughout this process. And that can be something that's hard to adjust to, especially if you're setting expectations of finishing X, Y, and Z today, and then you only get through half of X. That can really kind of discourage you. What I'd recommend is just to first set low expectations. And the next is, the goal here is to think of a long-term strategy. So over the course of your declutter, you don't want to gas them out so that they're never excited to come declutter again. You want the declutter process to be filled with a lot of manageable steps so that eventually they will get to their goal. But if you're just being the drill sergeant with them and trying to get them to finish, they're probably just going to quit because they're going to be tired of you and it's just going to be exhausting. But you could start with just a lot of small little declutter so that you get those quick wins and so that they can rest in between. You could do the speed declutters, which was a huge hit with my mom. She loved doing the 10 to 20 minute timers to just go through her space. She really did great with the speed declutters. Just go at the pace that really works for your parents so that they want to keep doing this with you. And number 4, this is obvious, but I want to expand on this because it's much deeper than what you might think. And that's, you have to have a lot of patience and understanding in this situation. You have to have patience and understanding in knowing that we are very different generations. They're likely going to want to hold on to more things in case of a rainy day, and we're probably not going to understand all of the deep embedded reasons for why that is, but in those moments it's going to require a lot of patience and understanding for you. Another reason for needing extra patience and understanding in decluttering with your parents is that decluttering isn't just about the stuff, it's about all the emotion attached to that stuff. And most of our parents are at that age where they're dealing with the loss of their parents, their spouse, their other family members, their friends, and that is not something that you can rush. And if they need to hold on to something because that is a memory of their mom or their nephew that they're not ready to let go of right then, you are not in the position to force it. That is something that they have to come to terms with on their own, and it just is going to take time. But with that said, if you're helping your parents, also know that those things are also going to affect you on a deeper level than it might if you were helping, for me, if I'm helping friends or clients, because my life is also wrapped up into those memories with people too. Our memories might be different, but the emotion is still there. Both might be processing it very differently. So I think it's also good to just remember that you need to take time for yourself too to process. Another reason to be extra patient and understanding is that our parents are aging and they're moving into this new phase of life that they're still just mentally processing for many different reasons that we don't need to go into. We can all imagine. This situation just works so much better whenever you practice extra patience and understanding with each other. And number 5 is, don't force your help on them. No matter how well-intentioned you are, this process is not going to work if you're forcing it. There are so many reasons why you would want to help your parents declutter their house. My recommendation is just to ask them first. If they say yes, great. If they say no, I think it's best to just respect their opinion. But I don't think that means that the door is closed and it's going to stay closed forever. I think that just means right now they're not ready. But on a positive note, I think it's great that you ask them because you've got them thinking about it. And you can say very nice and casually, okay, I know you don't want my help right now, but if you ever want my help in the future, just let me know. I'd love to help you. And I think that we can really create less stress in your life if we could get rid of some of these extra things for you. So just let me know. I think it's very important to not close that door and to just not get frustrated by, oh, I know if you would only get rid of all of those things, like your life would be so much less stressful, you'd have so much more space, you wouldn't have to be doing as cleaning, and life would just be better. Like, if you approach it like that, definitely not gonna work out the way you want it to. The goal is to try and ease them into it slowly where it's their choice and they are the ones that are excited to declutter. What I hope happens whenever you ask them is that they're constantly thinking about it now. Like, okay, maybe 6 months go by or even a year while they're eating dinner and they're looking around thinking, maybe I could live with less. Like, they're getting accustomed to the idea, and one day, maybe a year and a half down the road, you might get a call that says, hey, April, I'm ready to declutter. Would you still want to come help me in the living room? hell yeah. One thing that you could do is say, okay, well, would it be okay with you if I just declutter one small space for you? You could start with a space that there is a lower chance of being emotionally attached to. So maybe the bathroom or the pantry or the shoe cabinet or the junk drawer. Start with just a small project that's not going to take a lot of time, and then let them experience the transformation. They will have lived with the before and know what it feels like. But then let's say you just organize that one junk drawer and all of a sudden they open it, and every day for months they're opening it and it's beautiful and it feels good, and they want to experience more of that feeling throughout their house, and then they call you and ask for help. I will give the example of my dad. A lot of people ask why he wasn't decluttering, and one reason is that he was working a lot of the time while I was there and didn't have time to do it, but he also just wasn't ready to declutter. If he doesn't want to declutter, I'm not going to force it. What happened is that through the spaces my mom and I were decluttering, he got inspired to start decluttering and organizing his tool section, and all of a sudden it had all these labels on it and he was really proud of it. And then in his own time, he went and decluttered his own closet voluntarily. I think you could lead by example. Those are just some of the takeaways and lessons that I learned from decluttering with my parents. If you have any lessons that you've learned from helping your own parents, or if you are my parents' age and you want to share some other insight, the smoother that we can make this process, the better and more fun it's going to be for everybody. So leave any of your tips and recommendations down below. And don't forget, you can check out Homary's website and get a 7% off discount by clicking the link and using our code, which will all be linked down below. Thanks for watching.